All right, so welcome back to Think Differently. I need to pin myself. Hold on. There we go. Welcome back to Think Differently. Today we're talking about strategic vacation planning. Depending on when you're watching, for those of you who are on the replay, depending on when you're watching this, we're recording this at the end of July. So obviously people are taking time off in the summers. That's a typical thing, especially for people in the Northern Hemisphere. And I want to talk about it, but as I said in the email promoting this, like this is something that I talk to my clients about year round. And like a lot of people, myself included, are already starting to look at like the end of the year holidays and like how to adjust the business around that time off, et cetera. And so I just think it's a really valuable, I was joking like, oh, I could have come up with this idea in May or April when people should have, would have, could have been planning for summer vacations. But again, this is just such a year-round topic, at least in my world with my clients, and for myself. And since I just came off of a 3-week vacation, it just felt like it's fresh. I got some lessons to share. And I think, and then at the end, so we are going to wrap up before the top of the hour because I do have a client. But before we wrap up, I promised that I would share just a little bit of like not business related, just where I went and what I did, et cetera. And feel free to be part of that conversation if you want to ask questions. So I'll do that at the very end. I don't know why I have a frog in my throat all of a sudden. Excuse me. Couple of quick announcements before we jump in. First off, you cannot sign up for this yet because I'm still working on it on my website. But I'm going to be doing a masterclass, I think at the end of July. It might get pushed to the beginning of September, but I think it's going to be the last week in July. So stay tuned for that. If all of you are on my email list, if you're getting this replay or you're getting this live, if you've just happened upon this on my website, get yourself on my email list and you'll get notified for the masterclass. And it's going to be called the Predictable Sales Framework. I think that what a lot of us are looking for, what a lot of us are looking for, what a lot of my work is with my clients is to help them put together a setup in their business so that they have something predictable, something consistent, something that's not just sustainable financially. I think we talk a lot about sustainability from the perspective of like having a business that's sustainable, and that's good. But I always am looking at how is the business owner and the team executing delivery of the service to the clients? Is that sustainable, right? Because as we're talking about today with vacation, like if your business isn't set up for you to ever take a vacation, it ain't sustainable. Like that's just not going to work. And it's not something that you can do long term without like lots of other problems like health issues and other things that you're going to drive your body into. So we're not down with that. And so long story short, what we're talking about in the predictable sales framework is about I think everybody thinks that they need to look at sort of the last phase of the sales process, like your sales, your marketing, your messaging, which I think is so important. Absolutely a part of the work that I do with my clients. And that is, as I said, the end of that process. If you want predictable sales, the beginning of that process is, hopefully you are good at what you do. But it is having an offer or an offer suite that actually is set up to create that predictable sales process, and to create that income that you're looking for, whether that's, in terms of consistency, et cetera, whether that's, you're just starting your business and you're looking to grow, or whether you're taking what you've already built and you're scaling. I'm always at every phase in business for almost every single client. When I start working with them, we're taking a look at the offers, even if it's just a quick audit session number one, and we make a few tweaks and we move on to align the offer to your goals of what's next. It's just very, very, very much a big part of what I do. And so I'll be sharing basically the framework that I incorporate in my work with my clients. So you won't want to miss that. That's again, end of August, early September. You can't sign up for it yet. So just letting you know about it. Next week, this time, we're also doing another Think Differently. But since I've been on vacation, I don't have I just realized this morning, I don't have a title yet, and I didn't want to rush myself to that. So if you want to suggest a title, make a vote, make a request. I will take requests, and I'll decide probably by tomorrow. what next week is about. The link is in the chat if you want to sign up for next week. And then the final piece I want to share is that as a part of that masterclass at the end of the month, well, it's July, at the end of next month, I'm going to be doing a sale, and I haven't done a sale in quite a while. So if you've been on the fence about working together or just looking to sort of figure out what's the right timing, there will never be another time or a better time. And for the people who are, I've been having lots of conversations with new clients and recently signed clients, but also people who are signing up for consults for next month, who are already on my calendar. I'm going to be honoring that sale for people in advance. So if you book a consultation with me between now and before the masterclass, I'll honor that sale for you, right? It's silly for you to like start working with me 3 weeks before the masterclass starts, before the sale, and then you don't get the sale. So I honor that always for people who sign up around that. So so look out for that as well. And then I guess the final thing is, if you are interested in working together, I've got the link in the consult link in the chat. So just book a conversation. It's free. It's no pressure. It's really, for me, I'm very big on fit with my clients. So if I don't think I can help you, or even better, if I don't think I'm quite the right person to help you, I will refer you out. I will not take your money. I don't feel good about that. Most of my clients stay with me and renew with me for years, and that's really important to me. Not that you have to, but it's really important to me, especially for something like a 6-month coaching container, that I'm not just saying yes to any old business setup, or to a person whose style is different from mine, different enough from mine, that I can't effectively coach you as well as somebody else could. So I always am very super honest in these conversations. So no pressure, just as an opportunity to sort of talk through what it would look like to work together. And I have had people tell me that they had major ahas as a part of these free consultations, that they looked at their business differently, that they took an action that they never would have taken. I mean, there are just lots of values to even just having the conversation, even if we decide it's not a fit, or even if you're not ready yet. All those things, I'm always open to a conversation. So that's in the chat as well. Okay, that's enough announcements. I'm going to jump back into vacations. So a couple of things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time today talking about why you need a vacation. I do have a few little points on that. So just, we're starting the conversation with the assumption that humans need vacation, just like humans need sleep. Okay, I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about that, because I want to actually talk about, like, practically speaking, how do you set your business up for that? And if you need any, like science, there is plenty. You can Google or ChatGPT, like there's plenty of science and studies that have been done around humans and how we operate and work best, or just, I want to say operate best, because it's like not just about work, right? I'm a better partner to my partner when I've not just had sleep, but had a proper vacation and time off, right? Yes, I'm also better at work. But this is, obviously further reaching than that. When I was in corporate, one of my big soapboxes to my clients that were big corporate organizations, most of the time my client was an executive over a specific department. And a lot of times what I would work with them on, even if it wasn't part of the program, like sometimes this was like my own personal agenda, is I'd be like, great, and how are we incentivizing people to take the vacation that you give them, right? Because just because an organization gives a vacation to their employees doesn't mean that they're actually incentivized to take it and use it. And the business case that I would always give my clients, besides it's just the right thing to do, is like, the organization will suffer if you work your clients to the bone. And you don't give them time for a life and vacation, and then other things happen. And so anyway, this has been my soapbox for a long time. So we're walking in with the assumption that this is a good idea. Okay. The first thing I want to say is actually what I put in the title. By the way, for anybody who's live, just ask any questions you have, or if there's something specific you want to make sure that I cover. And I did get, one of you submitted a question. I do have that, and I'll speak to that. Okay. So the first thing I want to say, and again, I think I put this in the email when I was promoting this, but the first thing is we have to build it into our plans, to our programs. You don't get like magically surprised It's like, you don't get magically surprised by a successful business, right? Like you put the time in, you put the work in, you put the intention in. There's a lot that goes into creating a successful business. Same with vacation. Like, you don't just get magically surprised by the perfect opportunity that all of a sudden none of your clients need you and you can go take a vacation. Like, it doesn't happen like that. You have to make it happen. You have to make it happen, period. And so that's my number one piece, is like, it has to be built in by design. It has to be done on purpose. And so therefore, I always recommend with my clients, if we're looking at offers as an example, that offer, if it's sustainable, it's also something that builds in an unexpected amount of time off, or an expected amount of time off, or doesn't ask, it's not built in. How am I trying to say this wrongly? It's not built in when you're like, from Monday at 9 a.m., if you're working a 9 to 5 schedule, to Friday at 5 p.m., this is every hour that's accounted for, right? Like, there's no buffers in there for you to be a normal person, or for you to have an unexpected, this client needs me, this client moved their session, like whatever the thing is, you don't have any room for reality. And so just like I wouldn't have you schedule your time like that, or your offer like that, don't schedule your business around like that. And so, for example, I'm going to use my business as an example because I think it's a very, very straightforward example. So I have a 6-month coaching container. In that coaching container, you get 16 coaching sessions plus a kickoff, but I'm not going to count the kickoff. I'm going to look at like normal months. So 16 coaching sessions over 6 months. If you do the math, it is not 2 per month and it is not 3 per month. It's in between. And that is by design. That is because I take vacations. I also live in a place where every vacation I take is basically an international trip. And so even if I'm working on my vacation, or if I'm working while I'm traveling, I still need to take time off to like get myself places. And so that's just built into the program. So I always tell my clients, on a given month, on a normal month, book 2 to 3 sessions with me. But then based on my vacation schedule, based on your vacation schedule, based on your business, right? A lot of times when clients are launching or have something they're working towards, we're front loading all those sessions, and we're meeting more often in preparation for things. And then right as that sort of launch gets underway, a lot of times it's like, maybe there's only 1 session because they're focused on the launch and they're executing. And then they're moving forward to delivery. And so they might have more sessions pre-launch than post-launch, for example. My clients, when I was on vacation in July, they scheduled their sessions for June and for August, and for the last, I guess I was here like a week and a half of July. And so for that portion. And so again, it's built for a regular month, 2 to 3 sessions a month. I think it's like 2.6 technically. And it's built for an alternative month. It's just built in there. So when I inevitably take 2 weeks off in December, that's just built in. Most people take time off in December, but the point is, we're not restructuring the offer. We're not having to have separate like recontracting conversations, like a consulting term I'm pulling out of my archived brain, but we're not recontracting to, oh no, I'm leaving. What are we going to do? It's just built into the program. Now, if I took more than 3 weeks off, I would probably offer them an option to pause, or we would come up with something else. I would go into recontracting or having some choices there. Because if I'm offering you 6 months of support, but I'm only giving you 5, that's different, right? But again, my point is, the support that they get from me is built into that schedule, so that I'm not expecting myself to be on for, otherwise I'd be on for 6 months. And then when do I get a vacation? Because other people not everybody starts at the same time. And then that doesn't make any sense. My clients take vacation too. So hopefully that's a helpful example of just building it in. So make it on purpose, make it by design, build it in, not just to your offers, but we're going to talk about a couple of examples, like to your strategy, to your plans. And And frankly, to your revenue forecasting, I feel like nobody takes this into account. And then at the end of the year, they're like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, I took vacation. Or, oh yeah, I had like July was not my best month of the year. Right? Like, I think that needs to just be normalized as okay and normal that every month of the year can be higher or lower. I'm also, let's please normalize looking at your income from a quarterly or an annual standpoint. I think monthly is a very weird, only in the online business space. My corporate clients never, I mean, we looked at the monthly income, but it just is it's too small. It's like looking at your weekly income. It drives me crazy. It's not a very strategic way to look at your income. And so point being, like if we're building that, we're looking at the forecasting of the business. If you're setting up you're repricing your offer, let's say, and you're like, great, this times this many clients will get me X at the end of the year. Are you also building in vacation to that? Right? Okay. And then also, I think a sub part of this building it in is set expectations with your clients and with your team up front. Right? Not 1 week before your vacation. Yeah, if you haven't done it, of course. But like, I don't know. I think my first reminder email or like notice to my clients that I was going on vacation was like at the end of May. And I took vacation like starting July 1st or something like that, right? So I gave people notice. I also tell my clients when they start working with me why it's set up like that and that I will go away and like they need to be okay, right? That's just, again, it's built in. And within that built in, it's not just built in. I make a point to say it. I make a point to let them know what to expect so that they know what it's, because I think especially when we're service providers, when we're providing support of any kind, especially since we're in like a trust recession, like I think it's really important to say, I think it builds even more trust to say, I won't be here then than it does to act like you're going to be there and then to change it or to try to be there. And then this is the thing I work on with a lot of my clients, the ones that are people pleasers, overachievers, overgivers, fill in the blank of any version of that for you. When you try to shove so much into a program and then inevitably it is not, back to my point in the beginning, it's not sustainable to deliver because you had an expectation of yourself that's just not human, then you do have to pull back. You do have to set a boundary. You do have to change it. And that's harder on a client to go back. So setting expectations, plan it. If you hear nothing else, plan it. Okay, a couple of other thoughts around this. I'm going to just check the comments and make sure tell me if this is making sense. Let's see. Oh, yes. Sorry. The masterclass is the last week of August. Thank you. I keep saying July because it is July but it's not July. In my head, it's already August. Thank you. You get a lot of value in that free call with Laura. If you're curious, I recommend. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Wouldn't it be? Yeah, it would be funny if somebody said, oh my God, I actually accidentally built a successful business. It would also be nice too, yes. But yeah, I mean, we have to remind ourselves that we have to make, like, you didn't start your business. Like nobody started your business for you, right? Like you made it happen. And we have to remind ourselves that we have that power. Okay. So the second thing, so one, build it into your stuff, build it into everything, set expectations, plan for it, plan your finances around it. The other thing is, I really think one of the like hot takes that I have that's different than what a lot of coaches and other people I see in the online space is I still think what I see online, and it's marketing, but like is, you have to take a vacation and it has to be X number of weeks long and you don't take your laptop and don't check in with your clients and blah, and it has to be this way and you have to like paint your toenails on a beach. It's sort of like that same, like you have to be sitting on the beach painting your toenails while your passive income stream brings in money. Like there is no passive income stream that I know of other than investing in the stock market, which still takes some thought and clicks and some things. Side note, there is like passive income, but you have to set it up and work it to start it and to get it usually most people I know with a successful evergreen funnel that also creates income, like it took them a minimum of a year to set that up, to tweak and refine it, and to, yeah. So if we're going to act like that about our vacations, you're always going to come back from vacation deciding that you've done it wrong. And this is what I see with a lot of people. Like they go on vacation and then they come back and they're like, oh, but this other thing, I didn't do this. So now, because I was on vacation, because I decided it, because I planned for it, right? But now that this thing isn't done, right? I could do this to myself. Now that I went on vacation, but now I don't have a think differently topic for the first week of August. And like, I shoulda, woulda, coulda done that in advance. It's not going to be perfect. And we can't have an all or nothing thinking ideally about anything. Our brains want that. Our brains want to box everything into a category. Everything is black or white, nothing in between. Almost everything is in the gray area. I'm so sorry. Welcome to life. But again, and I'm being a little silly with this, but this is where I think the sneaky mindset stuff comes in, right? This is where I find myself really holding my clients to the truth around, wait a minute, we decided, we chose this, right? And so kind of just like with the planning, when we plan something, we also have to understand the trade-offs with that and know what we're choosing and be okay with that, and then not make ourselves wrong that we chose A, but we got the trade-offs of A. And we didn't get the benefits of B. We chose A, we got the benefits of A, and we got the trade-offs of A. We did not choose B, right? So a couple of examples of letting go of your all or nothing thinking. Set up your vacation. Like this is very practical for each vacation. Set up your vacation with your own expectations of yourself. Are you going to work at all? Are you going to work a little? Are you going to work nothing? That's like kind of that first step. With this, I've done all of the above and a lot of in between. With this vacation, I was 95% off because a lot of the work that I do is providing support between sessions with my clients in Basecamp. I didn't want to cut that off completely. And so I did check in, I think it was 3 times over the 3 weeks. And I told them which day it was going to be because I knew my schedule. So I just picked up the days that I was at the airport. I was going to be on my phone anyway, like may as well. So they knew when they were going to hear from me. And so I did do that. And I had like 2 pieces of content that I hadn't quite finished getting to my team. So I did finish that at some point, maybe that first week, but that was really it. So I feel as though I was completely unplugged. I did have a couple of moments of being plugged in. I also had I think one day where I got a notice and I realized I owed a couple of invoices, payments on a couple of invoices were due while I was away. So I went in and clicked and paid that, right? So I was not 100% off black and white gray area. But again, I went in and made that decision for myself from the get-go. I communicated that clearly to my clients. I actually think I sent them too many reminder emails to let them know and make sure they were planning for it. And then when I'm on vacation, I was working really hard to let myself, one, not check email when I said I wasn't going to check it, but also to let myself check it when I said I was going to check it, thereby making myself right, thereby backing myself up. And this is one of the things that I work with my clients on so much. All my clients are probably so tired of me hearing me say this. But if we're making a business decision and then we make ourselves wrong about it later, that's when business feels hard. Holy shit. There's always another decision you could have made, right? There's always another option. There's too many choices, I think, for most people right now. I think it's one of the beautiful things about what we're all doing. But when we choose something almost to the point of delusion, but like almost to the point of delusion, like back yourself up. I made this decision. Give yourself space to make the right decision, work with your coach or a client, or maybe not a client, coach or a bestie or a colleague. I mean, if you need some additional thought leadership, thought partnership, go through an appropriate decision-making process. And when you make the decision, it is done. You have made it. Now it's time to just be like, oh my God, I'm so smart because I made this really great decision. So like, I'm I know my clients are tired of me saying that, but I'm like, why are you making yourself wrong? You already made the decision, right? And this is where we get, frankly, I love it because that's where we get into some good, juicy mindset conversations. But I think it's so important to just remember that when you make a decision, you just make yourself right. So I'm making myself right for the fact that I wasn't completely off, but I wasn't completely on. And I was mostly off. And so every moment that I was on, I was like, this is right. I'm so proud of myself for supporting my clients in this way. I'm excited to hear what they have to say. Hang on, let me just let this person in. You know, like I'm always like waiting for the update. I really do like that. That's a juicy excitement for me, is to like hear what's the update. So I just made that right. And then when I was done, I closed the app and I said I was done. And I went back to where I was. Presence is really important. Because if you want to take time off and release stress, making yourself wrong is one really good way to just add more stress to your body. Okay, let me see what else I wanted to say about this. Let me know if this is making sense or you have questions. Oh, the other thing, I want to just go back. I missed something around this is a nuance, but I think it's important again, as we're talking about the gray area. I did have one client that I did go back and recontract with for that month, because as soon as I came back from vacation, she left. And so she essentially was losing her entire month of coaching, with the exception of a little bit of base camp. And that just didn't make sense from her. Didn't make sense to her. Didn't make sense to me. Both of us were like, we don't like this. Okay, so let's figure something out. And so I think I think I just bonused her some base camp support, because she also was feeling like she needed more support in July. That was the other thing, just based on what's going on in her business. And so we wanted to pause July, but then I didn't want to pause July because she's telling me she wanted more support. So what we did is we paused the payment for July. She still has the same container, same number of sessions. She just now has more time to use those sessions. Paused the payment so that she didn't have to pay me in July. She could make that additional payment in August. And then for July, I just bonused her I just kept the base camp open, right? So the 3 times I checked base camp, and actually I was able to communicate with her when I was back right before she left. So we did have a good like 24, 48 hours of some like good messaging in between. And so I just bonused her that. I'm not getting paid for that, but that just made sense for the container and felt good to me, and it felt good to her. So I did do that. I did make that exception or that change because it just didn't make sense for her. And so again, going through that gray area, yeah, I set it up. I had the program set. It was built in, but it's not always going to make sense for everyone. And then I just made a quick change. Okay. Moving on. Oh, I do have a couple comments. Let's see. It's triggering the 4-hour work week book cover. I think you were talking when I was saying like, you must be sitting on a beach all the time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's very, yes, it's very tech bro. Let me tell you my productivity hack for men. And it just doesn't work. Thank you. I feel seen. Thank you. Setting expectations with the client demonstrates your responsibility and professionalism. 100%, 100%. And I find so often that like we're resistant to do that because especially my people pleasers, are scared of like not pleasing someone, but it actually backfires on you in reverse when you just avoid the difficult conversation up front. If you have the difficult conversation up front, most of the time it's not difficult. And if it is, then you just deal with that. How do you even consider vacation when it's not typical for you as a solopreneur? I take time away, but I'm always checking in. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. I would, not to be a coach, but I would have you answer that question for yourself. What is your definition of vacation? Because I often will take like a random Wednesday off in the middle of the week, and then I just decide that day if I'm going to check in with my clients, or if have told them I'm taking the day off, or what expectations I'm setting there. I'm not sure I would call that my random Wednesdays a day off or a vacation, but that's for me. right? So for me, it's like that was like a flex day where I decided to not work instead of work, and that's just my choice. And nobody was on my calendar, so I took it off, kind of thing. But again, I would define that for yourself. I think what I'm talking about today is more of a like lengthy, like a few days off where you probably have to carve it out of your schedule, up to, a week, a month. I have a former client who takes religiously a month. When we were working together, we set up her business so that she could take a whole month out of the summer completely off with her kids. And that was really important to her. And so that was one of the things that we did together was we set the business up to have a different cycle so that I think it was June or July, so that she could take an entire month off. And so that's one of the things that we did. She's since expanded that now. And I think it's like 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't know. I can't remember what it is. I saw a post recently, but she's since expanded that. So up to something like that. I think this question, let me read the question also that somebody submitted, because I think that kind of goes with this other question that you're asking. I had it up. Here we go. Okay. So this one says, how do you take vacation when life keeps creating other ways to take time off, like take time off of business, like illness, family emergence. I'm not saying words today. Let me start over. How do you take vacation when life keeps creating other ways to have to take time off of business, like illness, family emergencies, etc.? I need a vacation to clear my brain. So is there a way to get that space without a big vacation or a way to unplug? So I feel like these are kind of similar questions. I have a couple of thoughts for that. Hopefully today will help as well in terms of like taking your brain to think about it differently. But I think what I'm hearing from you is like, I just need a minute. And I would encourage you, I mean, I'm talking about my vacation. I haven't gotten there yet, but I went to Europe. We're talking about like play vacations and those things, and those have to be built in. We have to be proactive. We have to give ourselves life and joy. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to work for myself, because I was so annoyed with other people deciding when I got to take my freaking vacations. And I'm a big traveler. So that's what I do on my vacations. But what I'm hearing from you is less about the proactive vacation and more about the like, oh my God, like I have to like reset. I have to recover. I have to process. I need a minute to myself. And I have all these things that I'm just juggling and processing and things that are coming at you. And so what I would say to that is, I actually don't think you need to go on some big trip unless that's like the thing that your heart is dying for. It sounds more like what you need is some time away from freaking everything. So I'm a big fan of staycations, but if regular life is pulling you away and is actually part of the thing that you need vacation from, then I would say I'm also a really big fan of like, I don't know what these are. We need a name for this. Maybe there is a name for this, but like solo vacation, whether you have a partner or just you, but like a very small number of people, even just you, going to a freaking hotel for 2 days and like having no agenda for yourself, right? It's like spa day is one thing, spa weekend is another, but it doesn't even have to be expensive. And the other thing I think is I'm a big fan with travel of like, one of the things we get from vacation and from travel is a literal change of scenery. Like I have a change of scenery today, but like a literal change of scenery. And you can I bet you wherever any of you live, you can go to a place that's pretty different within about an hour or two drive away. And so I would look at something really simple and easy that like all you have to do is make one reservation of a place to stay and you're done, right? Even Airbnb, if you just want to like not even have to go people and be in a restaurant, like you could cook your own food. I'm a big fan of just minimal stimulation. A little bit of nothingness, right, is so incredibly valuable, especially when you're, kind of recovering from a stressful time. I think those are really good proactive vacations too. Like take yourself on a retreat for 2 days, a personal retreat, like maybe that's what we could call it. But yeah, some version of that, whatever that would be for you, that is almost always my recommendation. And then if you can't get that and you do need to be literally in your home, I've definitely, we've kind of created some pseudo vacations with some of my clients who have kids at home or kids at school or kids in a camp or whatever during the summer, especially. And like, we just forced it. Like we just like this babysitter can come for 3 hours. Somebody else has them for lunch. Somebody else has them for the afternoon. And you only get 9 to 5, but you've got 9 to 5 to yourself. Right. And one quick thing, just from the studies that I've, that I know about is that what's the word? Cumulativeness is important. So if you take an hour this morning and an hour in the afternoon and an hour in the evening, I would much rather you take 3 hours together. If you can carve that out, your brain gets more out of that 3 hour together. Same with like, I just talked about taking a random Wednesday off, but if you really need a vacation, don't take a Wednesday off, take a Friday and a Monday off if you're working Monday through Friday, so that you get that 4-day weekend. That cumulative, that compound effect actually matters when it comes to vacation. So rather than spacing it out, try to put it together when you can. But yeah, I hope that's helpful. I think boundaries are really important. So for the person who asked the question about, you know, I'll take a day off, but I'm still checking. If you're working on boundaries, that's a great opportunity for one little day to practice not checking your email. But it depends on what's going on in your business. If you're just checking because you're like the person like watching the pot boil, then it's a great opportunity to practice setting your boundaries with yourself and not checking the email, right? If you literally have stuff going on and you didn't plan for it and you just need to take a day off, that's a great reason to check in. We can have the nuance, we can have the balance. There's no rules here. It's just what rules work best for you. But it's not the rules, it's not always the rules that your mind is going to tell you you have to do, supposed to do, blah, blah. It's like, no, what actually serves you best right now? And that's one of the things that I often work with my clients on is like working their edge related to vacation. So if I was an overgiver, if I was, you know, doing too much for my clients, then me checking in a bunch of times during my vacation might not have been the right choice for me. And also, again, it depends on what expectations you've set with your clients. It's not all about me. It's not about you. We have to have agreements with our clients and meet those expectations, right? But as an example, right? But if you are a little bit of like, I'm just watching the pot boil, great opportunity to practice. Okay, so this is actually kind of a good segue. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is there is a myth, a belief system that I think most people in our society have, whether we have it or we like believe it a little bit. And it's so everywhere because this is our society, so it's not your fault. But it's kind of this concept that like when I step away, either everything's going to fall apart or business will stop. Right. And I find that when I was in corporate, it was more everything will fall apart or I'll get in trouble because I didn't do the thing or my team can't handle it. So it'll fall apart, right? Like there will be some sort of failure. I also have several folks in my head that support corporate clients. And one of the things I think their clients would say would be like, well, I'm the glue that holds it all together. So I can't take vacation. I will be letting everyone down if I take vacation. But I think for the business owners, it's more like, oh my God, I'm going to stop making money. I can't leave. Right. I think it's more that like that kind of failure, fall apart thing. And so I want to just offer a couple of points to the contrary, because number one, this is a mindset that a lot of people have or a belief system that a lot of people have, even if it's a little bit. Like there were moments where I was like, what did I forget? Right? I was completely unplugged. I'm like looking at new stuff. And then I'd like have a moment of like, what did I forget at work? Who am I going to let down? Right? Oh my God, now all my money is going to go away. Right? Like, and then you just have to like do your mindset work and come back to reality and remind yourself of the truth. And I'm just better at catching that now. and faster at catching that now, but it's not to say that like I didn't have those thoughts. And I think it's really important to just acknowledge that, like, I'm not a perfect person. So a couple of things with the fact that like you're leaving and how to sort of think about that. So one is little mindset, little practical. One is your business doesn't have to stop when you're on vacation. And one of the best things from running an online business is you can use social media. You can schedule posts in advance, right? I definitely put out less content than I normally do, but I did put content out while I was away. So that's something that can keep working for it. You can even like repurpose. So there's a way that you can, again, not black and white, but you can, and again, not overworking yourself before and after the vacation and saying, well, I have to put out the same amount of content that I do every single month. No, you don't. Set up new expectations for that alternative month. But that is a way that you can keep running your business without you having to be at the helm. And that's this is so important for vacation. This is so important for your mindset. This is so important for like running a sustainable business. But I also want to say, like, wherever you are in business, if you're looking ahead to the next level, the next amount of income that you want to bring in, the next impact that you want to make, if you want to start a second business, like whatever the next level that you're looking at right ahead of you is, I promise you, one of the ways to get there is to stop having every single thing be about you. Right. And so that comes from having some ways to get content out that doesn't require every single thing from you, repurposing a little bit, going back and, oh yeah, I talked about this 4 months ago. I'm going to take this concept and put like 1 or 2 pieces out. Most of that's already written. I'll just judge it and like, right. How can you just make that less? Do you have a team member that could do that for you and let you approve it before it goes out? Letting yourself put less out, but continue. How can you let it keep going? And to basically prove to yourself that you can step back, because the only way you're going to prove it to yourself is to actually just do it. But that is how, like, right. So from a scaling perspective, if you're scaling and everything is on you, you will not scale. You will just, I always do this with my client, like you're hitting your head above against the ceiling of your capacity, because scaling by definition does not mean you do all the more things. It means you do it in a more efficient way. And every business is different. Sometimes that's teams. Sometimes that's getting more efficient with your systems. Sometimes there's all kinds of updating your business model. There's all ways to do that. But it never, ever, ever means, oh, so let's put 80 other things on the business owner's plate. That's never the way to scale. So we have to do that in vacation. We have to take that same concept in vacation planning. Okay, other ways your business quickly can keep running while you're away. Give your team some projects. That's one of my favorite things to do. I actually did not do that for this vacation. But when you've got something that's just been sitting there and nobody's had a chance to get to it, that's a great time to, like, at least, even if your team could start it. I love that. Or like VAs are really good with that. OBMs, people who are managing sort of like the practical elements of your business. For my clients who have like brick and mortar companies or like agency consultancy models where literally like business is still going on while like clients are still being served is maybe a better way to say it, while they're on vacation. One of the things that we'll look at is how can we build that capacity and that capability within your team from the get-go, from when they're hired, from when you have this idea, and build in capacity for them to manage things while you're away, right? So if too many things are on your plate, are in your decision purview, are done by you every single day, then yeah, you're building a business that requires you to be there every day, and you're a human and you're going to get sick and you need to take vacation, right? And all these things. And so when we can build that capacity in to our team members and to look for some of those things when we're hiring, even, yeah, and that's a bigger process, right? That's not going to like get you your vacation tomorrow, but that is how we get those people their vacations. We have to be able to trust our team, but we also have to, kind of look practically speaking at who we're bringing on. That doesn't apply to everybody, but I think that model, it has its own sort of set of challenges and things when the business is still running and open for business. So that's a different kind of setup. Yeah, and then I guess I just want to brag on myself for a second because I think it's let me back up. In this concept of like the business keeps going while you're away. If I just use myself as an example, I've signed 2 clients since I got back from vacation. I've been back for like a week and a day. And I've had another inquiry from a past client that's looking to come back. So officially not signed yet, but already in the works with a third person. So I've been back for 1 week and 2 days, I think. And so, yeah, thank you. It's wonderful, but it's also, I want to go back to the very first point I made. It's not a surprise. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. I'm not saying this for any other reason other than I I didn't know who was going to sign when I got back, right? Like it's not like I predicted this magically, psychically, but all 3 of these people were already warm leads. They were already in my pipeline. We had already started talking about working together. It was not a surprise in that sense. And so what I mean by that is when we take that concept of like it's not okay to step away, one, it's not true, right? And so I just want to serve as evidence and proof of that. I want this business that I created to serve as proof and evidence of that because the reason that these people signed with me is because I have set the business up for that, right? I'm good at what I do. I have an offer that I've set up really strategically. I have a strategy that works for me. I know how that strategy works for me. I know how to refine that strategy when it doesn't give me what I want it to give me, right? I know my marketing plan. I know how to execute. I know my sales process. I know how to follow up with that. And so because the business is working, what I don't want to say is because the business is working, you take a vacation. So I'm changing my mind. Because the business is working, that's why I made those sales. I did not make those sales because I took vacation. And I did not make those sales because I didn't take a vacation. Like, it's not like I wouldn't have gotten the sales if I had. They might have come sooner for that matter. But the point is, if we're doing this ongoing process, if we're always doing the right things, I don't want to engage in perfectionism here. But when we set our businesses up for success, then it will happen, vacation included. Does that make sense? And don't get me wrong, these are 3 people I'm very excited to work with. Like, I'm very happy. Thank you. I will absolutely toot my own horn, but it's important to see why, right? I think it's very easy to act like I could have said instead, right? The sit on the beach marketing bullshit mentality of like, well, I just went away on vacation and I did nothing. And that's why magically all these people came to me. No, none of these people came to me magically. They came to me because I run a good business, because I'm good at what I do, and because I market the crap out of my work, right? Marketing works. I always joke, like, marketing works, right? And so it's because that process is in place and I was able to keep it going, right? The content I put out in July probably will not generate clients for another few months, right? But that ongoing consistency actually matters. And so and this is one of the things that I like to look at with business with my clients is like, if we can have a business, I kind of just want to do it like this. We can have a business that is set up for sustainability, then we're not putting pressure on June before we go on vacation to hurry up and sell shit because we're not going to be back until July 20th or whatever, right? Like that pressure that we put on ourselves removes our ability to have some steadiness and some consistency, right? And I guess my point here is also, even with a 3-week vacation, I still have that consistency. Okay. Okay, I've got a couple more points and I have 6 minutes till my client, so I really have to end on time today. You're awesome. Thank you. And you're magical. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Oh, somebody had to go. Okay, no problem. I know a team of coaches who take the last month of every month off. I think you mean the last week of every month or the last month of every quarter, offering client calls and communications, or they do work 7 weeks. Oh, work 7 weeks and take 1 week off. Still have the team communicating with customers during that off week. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, what does on even mean, right? Like, on could be client service on. Off could be, I'm not on client calls, but I'm working on the business, right? And then off vacation, right? However, we're defining vacation to somebody's question earlier, like maybe that means you're off, right? Having those varied phases. I love that. Thank you for that example. It's such a great example of the gray area, right? And making it work for you and making it serve your business and your sort of cycle of work. I want a vacation where I work on my business. Yeah, I really love those. I really love those. And I think those are easier to do like half days or one day at a time. For most people, it's harder to carve that out, but it's a good one. Okay, a couple other thoughts here. Yeah, I already covered that. Look at me. The other thing, I've alluded to this, but I actually rose it to like, this is point number 6 or maybe point number 5, that I want to speak to really quickly is when we do take vacation or holidays happen, right? Like December is a great example. Most people take the second half of the month off, or even if, or it's your busy season, or your clients are in and out, like whatever you're doing there, it's most likely a different month for you. And I think it's so important to not only do the planning for that, not only predictably forecast that, not only set yourself up for that, but also then set, when we talk about making ourselves wrong and setting expectations for yourself, that that's going to be a different month. Instead of like, well, it's December, I'm only going to work 2 weeks, but I have to put out I have to put out 4 weeks worth of content, same amount, right? Where we're squishing in the work before and squishing in the work after. That does not get you, I mean, might get you those days off, but then now you really need a vacation. Right now, there's nothing proactive about this. You now have to recover from your sprint. Look, sprint when you need to. I'm definitely a fan of that when it's right, when it's healthy. But if we're planning for December, right, or if I was planning for July, and then I had expectations of myself that I was also doing all these things that I do in a normal week, in a normal month, that's just not fair. And it just causes stress. And then it creates a lot of chaos for you, for your team. I see the impact going down the hill very quickly when you stress your team out like that as well. So let it be a different month, set different expectations, plan different things. And then I'll give you another great example for a couple of client examples for you. One, client has a new group coaching program that she's putting together that just started this summer. And when she was setting up the call schedule, the group gets like 2 calls per month. And she wanted to have it on a predictable schedule. So it was like the second Tuesday and the fourth Thursday or something like that. And so when she was setting that up, she was looking at her schedule. She was looking at the calendar and vacation and holidays and stuff and trying to find a time that made sense for the most part. And so what we did is we set up a time that worked for most normal months, right? Back to my coaching program where it's like on a normal month, you get 2 to 3 per month. And then we just set up an expectation both for her, and we wrote something in the like the welcome packet for the new clients when people sign up for the program, where they also understand there's going to be months that have alternative schedules, and we'll let you know as soon as we know. And that enables her to take vacation. She doesn't have to take a vacation the first and third week of the month because she has these calls, right? It also supports, in the US, Thanksgiving falls on the 4th Thursday of November, and she would have had a call on that day, right? And so we just set it up like that for that expectation. There's a huge truck going down the street really loudly. I hope you guys can still hear me. And so we just set it up like that, right? We set it up preparing for regular life and preparing for alternative. I've got another client who had surgery last year before the holidays. And so we did a lot, and we didn't know the surgery was coming. I mean, we did, but we didn't have a lot of advance notice. And so luckily we had already planned for her holiday time. And so one of the things that we did is we planned for the marketing that went out while she was away to sell. And she's a coach who delivers work, right? So there was no team to delegate to. It was either she serves clients or she doesn't. And so one of the things that we did was we had marketing that went out while she was away that sold spots for when she got back. And so she was still making money and selling stuff in advance. while she was taking her time off. The trade-off there was once we got to January, she was more delivery than making. So she definitely had a dip in her income that month of January because most of those people had paid, you know, in November and December. And I think we did a sale too. But that really served to help her keep making money, keep the business running, but she was able to operate it mostly off and still keep things going. Does that make sense? And then I've got one more example, and then I do have to go. I have a client who is, I'll save it. I'll save it. I think I'm gonna save that. That's a really good one, and it actually serves multiple lessons, so I will save that one. Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope this is helpful. Good boundaries, yeah, thanks. I hope this is helpful. I hope that you all have vacations this summer already or planned, or that this is helpful for your next one. This is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, something that I talk with my clients a lot about. If you have other questions, please reach out and let me know. If you'd like to work together, grab a free consultation, we'll chat. And then I want to just quickly share, I will put some stuff into, because I did promise to share more about my vacation and I did not. So let me just tell you that I went to Portugal, I went to London, and I went to Norway. The first half was with my partner, just us. And then the second half was with my whole entire family. So very contrasted, really, really, really lovely. From my 77-year-old dad to my 13-year-old niece. And everybody in between. So it was a blast. I will share some photos and some more things with you on Instagram, in my Instagram stories. I promise to do that. Promise. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And I'm off to my client and I'll see you soon. Come back next week for a surprise topic. I will let you know soon what it is. Okay. See you later. Bye.